Today we are unboxing the iPhone 16 Pro. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, my name is Ronan and I make product and tech reviews, and in today's video we are going to be unboxing the iPhone 16 Pro. So I'm really excited about this because I'm always very excited whenever I get a new iPhone. And the iPhone that I'm currently using is the iPhone 13 Pro in Slate. I tend to upgrade every 2 to 3 years. So at the moment, actually, this phone has held up really well, but the battery is really starting to suffer now. And then the other issue that I had with this phone, when I'm interacting with the phone and if I have to touch the screen anywhere or do anything that involves using any of the 4 far corners of the screen, it has always been very unresponsive. So I'm very excited to have a new phone, and the color option that I went for with this iPhone 16 is the natural titanium color. And the reason that I opted for natural titanium over any of the kind of newer colors that are out this year is that my Apple Watch Ultra is also natural titanium, and I just really like the idea that my phone and my watch are actually going to be the exact same color. And then just one other thing that I wanted to mention, this video isn't sponsored by Apple or by anybody else. I bought this phone with my own money and I just wanted to kind of open it up here so you guys can see exactly what it's like out of the box, kind of give you my first impressions of the iPhone 16 Pro. Okay, so now that I've got all that out of the way, the first thing that we need to do is open this up. And Apple have done away with all of the plastic on these boxes a long time ago. So you just have these 2 paper strips here that you just tear away. And then we just flip this over. And that is the natural titanium iPhone 16 Pro. It's really light. First thing that struck me about this is it is so much lighter than my iPhone 13 Pro. And I wasn't expecting that because my iPhone 13 Pro was kind of roughly the same weight as the phone that I had before, but this is much lighter. Like, that's nice. The other thing that I'm noticing immediately when I hold it in my hand is it's much more comfortable in my hand. And the reason for that is the edges. Like, the iPhone 16 Pro still has these flat edges that the iPhone 13 has, but the corners are much more rounded off, which means that it just sits much more comfortably in your hand. Okay, enough about that. Now for the exciting part. We just peel this off. There's something so satisfying about peeling that off. Okay, so that is what the phone looks like straight out of the box. My God, I thought there was a little chip there, but it was just some dust. Phew, that would have been very upsetting. This thing is beautiful. And just as I've come to expect with iPhones, the titanium frame around the edge looks like it's going to smudge up very nicely with fingerprints and that kind of thing. So in terms of form factor, this isn't really any different to the iPhone 13 Pro or 14 Pro or 15 Pro. It's all very similar. One thing that I will say, obviously the natural titanium is a much lighter color than like any of the previous like space grays or that kind of thing that I've been using previously. But where this phone is different and is brand new this year is we have a new button. So this is the new dedicated camera button, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that later on in the video when we get it all powered on and that kind of a thing. But also what's new for me, but not totally brand new to this line of phone, is the action button here has done away with the old mute switch that these phones used to have. Okay, so now let's see what else we have in the box. So first thing we have is a charging cable. So, oh, it comes out in a different shape. So it's in this cardboard and it's in this kind of like pill shape, which is really cool because it just means that the cable isn't under any kind of pressure in the box. And again, for me, for the first time ever on an iPhone, I have USB Type-C to USB Type-C. So I'm really excited that the iPhone 16 Pro uses USB Type-C because it just means that it's one less cable for me to worry about managing. It means that I can also now charge my iPhone and my iPad off the same connector, which is really helpful. What's also really nice about this cable, as you can see here, it's kind of like a braided rope as opposed to the kind of rubbery plastic cables that you used to get with these things. It just means that this will be a little bit more durable and it should just last longer. And then Lastly here we have a SIM eject tool, and this is the same SIM eject tool that you've been getting with the iPhone since the very first iPhone. And I don't know if these come with the iPhones in the US. I suspect they don't, but we still get them here because we still use physical SIMs here in Ireland. And I think throughout the EU, we're still using physical SIMs, whereas on phones that are kind of sold in other markets, they just have an eSIM, which means that this section here where you eject the SIM isn't in like a phone if you buy it in the US. So that's why I still get the SIM eject tool. But if you buy an iPhone 16 Pro and you don't get one of these, don't worry, it just means that you're in a jurisdiction you don't actually need it. So it's fine. And the last thing we have is, I assume the last thing, yes, all of the paperwork. And again, the paperwork here, it looks like it's been redesigned this year. So it's in that kind of a pillow shape, whereas before it used to just be like a standard rectangle. That is everything that comes in the box with the iPhone 16 Pro. And all of this packaging is completely recyclable. So you don't have to keep it, you don't have to bin it, you can just recycle all of this, which is great to see. The iPhone 16 Pro is slightly bigger than the iPhone 13 Pro. So definitely there's a tiny bit more screen real estate. And in terms of overall footprint, if I just carefully put my iPhone 13 on my iPhone 16 Pro, like the iPhone 16 is slightly slimmer from left to right, but it's also slightly taller top to bottom. And then I also think, actually, I was about to say that the camera module juts out a little bit more. It actually juts out a lot more. So I'm just gonna go and put my SIM card into the new phone and power it on. And hopefully there's a bit of power in this so that I can kind of get it up and running. SIM card is in. Now, moment of truth time. See the Apple logo coming on the screen. So there is some power here. We'll find out now just how much. So we have almost a full battery. I don't have battery percentage turned on yet because it's not on by default when you turn these things on first. But it's saying hello in all of the various languages. So now it's time for me to just very quickly go through the setup process to kind of make this mine. So it's saying that I can bring my old phone close to it. So let's see what happens. Set up your new iPhone. I'm gonna try and do this. I've never actually set up a new phone by bringing my old phone over. I always do it through the backup. We're just going through the setup process now, so it just says it might take a few minutes to activate your iPhone. So now I have to decide what I want to use my action button for, and at the moment it's just default set to toggle silent mode on and off. The phone is transferring data from my iPhone 13 Pro to my new phone, and already I can see the brightness on the iPhone 16 Pro is so much higher, and it's just so much easier to read the screen on the new phone than it is on my old phone. And then while that's setting up, I just kind of want to run through some of the technical specifications of the new iPhone 16 Pro. So the first thing just to mention about the iPhone 16 Pro is it actually comes in two sizes. So there's the iPhone 16 Pro, which is the version that I have here, and then there is the iPhone 16 Pro Max. So the iPhone 16 Pro that I have here comes with a 6.3 inch display. Then the iPhone 16 Pro Max comes with a 6.9 inch display. And then regardless of which size you choose, the phone comes in 4 different color options. So this year, the brand new color is Desert Titanium, and it's a really nice color. It's kind of like almost like a rose gold or a slightly pink, sort of dusty gold color. The next color is Natural Titanium, which is the phone that I have here, which I think is just beautiful. Then we also have White Titanium, which gives you like a natural titanium around the edge, but then the back of the phone is a crisp white. And the last color is Black Titanium. So that is black titanium around the titanium frame, and then black glass on the back. So once you've decided which color you want to buy, the next question is storage capacity. And again, the iPhone 16 Pro gives you 4 options to choose from. So you have 128 gigabyte, you have 256 gigabyte, which is actually the version that I chose. You have 512 gigabytes, and then finally you have a whopping 1 terabyte of storage, which is just still, to me, a mind-boggling amount of storage to have on an iPhone. And then in terms of how much the phone costs, again, it depends on whether you go for the iPhone 16 Pro or for the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Another new feature that is on the iPhone 16 and 16 Pro this year is that new dedicated camera button. So that is something that I'm really interested to try out, and I'm really excited to try out, but apparently I'm going to have to wait about 6 hours before that actually happens. And as soon as this thing is ready, I'm gonna kind of take it out into the back garden so you guys can see kind of what the camera is like and that kind of a thing. So I've got my phone all set up, and I'm gonna go and see what the new camera is like. I'm gonna more crucially see what this new camera button is like to use the camera on. So when we press the button down, it just opens up the camera, and you can see like this is all working as normal, and then you can just tap the button to take a photo, which is great. But then if I kind of half press, I get this menu here, and this is really awkward to control right now just because of the way I'm holding the phone. So if I adjust my grip, I can zoom in and out, and there are other controls and options that I can bring up through that menu as well. So I do think that new camera button is really cool, and it's pretty straightforward to use. It's definitely difficult to kind of use when you have the phone in one hand and you're trying to work another camera with your other hand. The slider function on it for zooming in and out works really well, and it's quite nice to use. So on the whole, I do like it. I feel like the positioning of the button, like it's quite far down the phone here, so when I'm holding the phone like this, it's not too bad. But on the whole, I really like it. I think the user interface and user experience on the new button is great, and yeah, I'm excited to really kind of try it out more, properly get used to it, and really put it through its paces. So in terms of my first impressions of the iPhone 16 Pro, I'd have to say, like, first of all, I really love this color. Compared to the slate of my iPhone 13 Pro, I think down the sides it's just so much nicer. And then on the back, I really like this kind of natural titanium gray color that they've chosen. It's much lighter than the slate color that was on the back of my iPhone 13 Pro, which I always said was the most beautiful iPhone I ever had. And when I look at the two of them here side by side, like, I think that might still be the case. I think this shade of gray is probably slightly nicer than this shade of gray that's on the new phone, but I don't think it would have matched the natural titanium as nicely. So I think on the whole, like, I understand why they went for this lighter color, but I do think this one's probably slightly prettier. But then in terms of actually just having the phone in my hand, I do think this feels so much nicer. So yeah, that is my iPhone 16 Pro straight out of the box, my first impressions. So I cannot wait to use this phone more, and I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna really put this phone through its paces, and I'm going to do a more comprehensive review of this phone down the road. But for now, this is just an initial unboxing and first impressions of the iPhone 16 Pro, and I'm gonna leave this video here. I hope you've liked it. If you do, please give it a big thumbs up, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next video.